sponsors, India is struggling to still decide its batting lineup, and Djokovic looks pretty much unstoppable. Welcome to the Sportscast, where I have Ayaz, Memon with me to discuss all the week's sporting news as usual.
Thanks.
Ayaz, so first off, when we last talked about, the first match had just gotten over. Between that time and now, India won one match and then they lost the next match. So the series is at 2-1 in favor of South Africa.
It's been a seesaw series so far, and I must say that actually the way we lost the third match, I think we lost the advantage, the momentum which we had gained through Dhoni playing the superb knock in the second match, 92 not out, helping India win. I thought perhaps the pendulum had swung India's way, but then to lose the way we did in Rajkot. So it's a very gripping series. It's a 5-match series, so it can't be a squared series. Either team will have to win. And I what you mentioned at the start, I think is right. India is struggling to get their lineup right. Who's going to be the finisher, and they're having a problem right at the top of the order because Shikhar Dhawan is not looking anywhere close to his best. So there's a lot of load and responsibility on Rohit Sharma and on Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Virat Kohli got amongst the runs in the second match, but he couldn't.
But he took 60 balls to score those runs.
He couldn't finish the match and win it for neither could Dhoni for that matter. So a sluggish pitch at Rajkot. I think they tried their hardest, but remember, South Africa have a formidable bowling lineup. Even on a pitch where the spinners were getting most of the help in the first innings, it was Makker who won the match for them. And I thought he was deservingly the man of the match. But this is going to be a tough series. India need to win the one-day series to go into the test matches in a far more positive frame of mind.
So, as you've touched upon it, that's been the main talking point after 3 matches. So you had Rahane at number 3 for 2 matches. Then he came down at 6. People have been criticizing Dhoni for coming in so late. They've been saying he should come, further up the lineup, and he came at number 4. But then again, he wasn't really able to do the job. Kohli playing at his preferred number 3 position, which he felt he'd been robbed of. Again, couldn't finish the job as he said in the end.
I think the batting order in this match was quite, in my opinion, right. Kohli at 3, Dhoni at number 4, and Raina and Rahane. Because Rahane can also be very explosive with his strokes. It's just that he's had a couple of good matches. But I think the big issue is Suresh Raina, because he's got the big shots. He got the kind of power which you used to see earlier in Dhoni, but he's just not able to get the ball off the square. Or if he's getting it off the square, he's getting it into the fielder's hands, or he's getting run out or some such silly thing. So I think he's going to have a problem retaining his place.
So what should the batting lineup look like? According to you, do you think we should go with different openers? Do we need to get Yuvraj Singh back in the squad?
That's the big call. And somebody like Gavaskar has mentioned, Sunil Gavaskar, that maybe it's time to get Yuvraj back into the team because he's got the big shots and he can be able, he can be the finisher that India is missing. I think also there's an eye he's kept open for the World T20. So if you get him in now and you get him into the groove, then perhaps he's of value. There's also talk of Ravindra Jadeja, who can bat a bit, and he's been having an excellent home season, domestic season.
Ranji, which he always does.
He does,
performs so well for Ranji.
But he's been bowling well, so he gives you that all-rounder slot, which maybe at number 7, number 8. But I think what perhaps is going to happen in the next match or next 2 matches is Rahane goes to open the innings along with
That's true. That's
Rohit.
Something that Dhoni could try.
Maybe Shikhar will have to just kind of sit out, and if Yuvraj comes in, so the batting still got the balance. Raina,
at number 5.
Number 5, number 6. Really. I think the captain has implicit trust in his abilities, and frankly, having spoken to so many of them, they all seem to believe he's the guy who can deliver.
But he hasn't done that for a while.
He's not done that for a while, so that's the big question mark.
And Dhoni seems to have extreme confidence in Raina's abilities.
And Shastri, So I think, the best way I can put it is that they're giving him enough rope to hang himself.
Okay. And I hope he doesn't do that for the sake of the Indian team. So that's what's been happening on the pitch, and I think, we talked about India's death bowling. South Africa, they did brilliantly in the last 6 overs with Makker taking those wickets. I think we were in similar positions, both teams. India could have easily chased it down. We lost by like 18 runs.
Yes. I don't think that was a pitch. I mean, I also thought that they might end up making 325 or 300, but the pitch started getting slower and slower and slower. So 270, 275 was a fairly high score. And, I always say that when you're playing South Africa, you have to keep a 20-25 run buffer. So 270 means you're actually chasing 300 against this attack and this fielding side. And Dale Steyn, Makker and Imran Tahir are very seasoned performers. And they've got Rabada, who's come in and he's been a revelation.
He's been like the surprise package.
He's been a surprise package. The Indian team is sorely missing Ravichandran Ashwin. So while the others did I thought Harbhajan and Amit Mishra were very, very good.
They did a good job.
Yeah. So did Mohit and Bhuvaneshwar in spells, but they got hit for a lot of runs towards the death.
Towards the end, again, which is something.
Which is where you lost the match.
Yeah. So that's it's, as you said, it's poised very nicely for the next two matches. The
only note of caution there is De Villiers has failed for two matches.
Yeah.
Law of averages tells you that something big could
Fourth
be on
match, they might just be scoring 150 balls again. That's
hopefully not.
But okay, so let's just move to the BCCI now. They had their first working committee meeting under Shashank Manohar's leadership, and few big decisions that they made.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think.
There were a lot of questions hanging over what happens to IPL and the two teams.
Well, so that has been answered.
Yeah.
I don't think that they can play a tournament with 6 teams.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
not going to be fair to the sponsors, to the broadcasters, and maybe to the public at large. So they have decided to go for 8 teams. The challenge for them is to get a good price. They'll have biddings for 2 teams. What kind of price do you get? Because if it's a very low price, the other franchises are not going to be happy at all, because it then kind of undercuts their equity.
And how will the restructuring take place? Like with the current existing teams.
So the existing teams remain.
Yeah.
The 2 teams are suspended. They can come back 2 years later. Whether the new teams are only for 2 years, or subsequently the tournament will be of 10 teams, we don't know.
Yeah.
We've had 10 teams in the past, so it's conceivable that you can have 10 teams going ahead, but it will all depend on how much money can come in.
Yeah.
The other big story, of course, was Pepsi exiting and Vivo, the Chinese handset maker, coming in for the same value. So they haven't lost money, but I think some kind of dent in the...
Yeah, because they made very clear that their reasons for leaving the IPL were the corruption and everything.
Pepsi is a very big brand,
Yeah.
so for them to leaves a sour taste.
Yeah.
It kind of sullies the BCCI's image a bit. But hopefully, there are measures that Shashank Manohar has talked about, and hopefully we'll see them. Like for instance, a website where the expenses over 25 lakhs will be displayed, who's earning how much. These are appointing an ombudsman for looking into conflict of interest. These are very sound measures, because really what Indian cricket needs to do over the next couple of years, which is when he's the president, is to kind of restore credibility and stability.
Yeah. And I think what got lost in all these big news, with the IPL teams and everything, was that they've actually appointed PwC to look into how the state is using its funding.
Correct, because there's been so much, you see, the allegation against the BCCI is that it's a cozy club, and state associations are given money in because you also get votes from them, and it's all kind of internally managed to help one power block or the other. And with no accountability, so to speak, to the public. So I think this should help.
Yeah.
I think it will be a very big help.
Yeah. So some more accountability in the sport. That's what we are hoping going ahead.
I think globally we are heading towards the stage where people are demanding more transparency, and I don't see Indian cricket being left behind or exempt from it.
Yeah. And so Shashank Manohar, he seems to be doing at least he's made the right steps.
He's made the right steps. Look, he's a legal mind. He understands the ramifications. He perhaps and this is his second innings, so he knows also the mistakes that he himself may have made in the first innings. Yeah. So I think I think it's a good start.
Yeah, that's a good start. Also, talking of good starts and
good
finishes, our Indian of the week. I'm sure Ayaz, you watched her play, PV Sindhu.
Yeah, PV. I mean, what a fantastic run.
Yeah, she had a really big run. I mean, she lost out in the final. Runner-up, she finished eventually too. But the big victory for her was the semi-finals, where she defeated Saina's nemesis, Marin, who's the world number 2, who Saina's had struggled to beat, but she beat her in 3 very close games. That match was so competitive, and then she went to the final.
This could be a coming-of-age tournament for PV Sindhu. I mean, I remember in 2013 she had some very good wins in the All England, and stuff. But then she's been almost like an understudy to Saina, not coming into her own often enough. But this tournament could be a turnaround for her.
That's true.
Because she
was unseeded.
She was unseeded. She's not won the tournament, but to reach the final, I think, was a terrific achievement.
Yeah. Also, someone who's been very dominant recently, Novak Djokovic.
You have to tell me about Novak Djokovic.
I have been watching him play for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He's not dropped a set. He's won 2 titles without dropping a set. He's managed to dismantle Murray, his closest competitor. He's managed to dismiss of Nadal, 6-2, 6-1, 6-2, 6-2. And the closest someone has come, to maybe knocking off a set of him was in the second round, where he won the set 7-6. So he's been on this unbeaten run where he's leading the points by almost 8,000 points, 9th title of the season.
So he's clearly at his peak. I mean, this is
we
the
thought 2011 was the
Djokovic
peak.
era.
Yeah, this is another level that he's
Yeah.
achieved. Like he's played all kinds of players over two hard courts, Beijing and Shanghai.
And he looks such a complete player. There's
That's
nothing
true.
that
Yeah,
he
so
can't do.
That people have been debating that, is he the complete player just because he's dominating the game right now? I would say his net game, that's still weak compared to, maybe say Federer or Nadal or, other players who are at better hands, they have better hands at the net. He is above average, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only, maybe something that he lacks, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to show up at all because
Supreme fitness.
he
and,
defends so well.
He defends. And what I've seen in the last 5 years maybe, that if there's any match which goes beyond 3 sets, inevitably he's a winner.
Yeah.
Because he's so much stronger, fitter, so relentless
Yeah.
in his pursuit. So he kind of wears down even a Nadal at his best.
That's true.
And he can kind of spar and, joust with Federer at his best.
Yeah.
So I think that's the greatness of Djokovic.
Speaking of Nadal, Ayaz, I'm sure you must be happy to see Nadal coming back in some kind of form.
Yes.
He reached the final, he reached the semi-final, 2 tournaments, hard court.
Yes, it's been a tough year for him, very tough year. So he's missed the first quarter, then he's come back and he looked virtually 1/10 the player he used to be. But gradually he's looking 50% to 60% of
like
the player.
the confidence seems to be coming back.
The confidence and the competence,
Yeah.
both things are coming back. So hopefully
Yeah.
next year, starting from the Australian Open, we'll probably see a better Nadal than what we've seen in 2015.
And it makes for a good season ending, the championships, the London championships are just coming up, and obviously everybody's asking how and who can
It's in
beat
December.
Djokovic. Yeah, it's in November.
It's in November.
Yeah, so literally I've looked at the
At
bets
Wembley?
at the O2 Arena.
O2 Arena.
In London. So the people are saying that maybe the next match that Djokovic loses is in Dubai next year, which is like the fast court which he doesn't like, or
Yeah.
maybe clay, because that's how unbeatable he looks like. He looks untouchable right now.
Fantastic.
Great form, yeah. Also, so that's tennis, and we will look forward to the championships, and there are 2 slots still remaining for the top 8.
Top 8, yeah.
The elite top 8 that will compete in the round robin format. Nadal secured his position. Most probably, I think Ferrer should make it. So it's all very tough. Like it's
So
not,
who have already qualified?
obviously you have Federer, Djokovic,
Federer, Djokovic,
Murray,
Murray,
Nadal, Berdych.
Ordich.
Yeah. So now those are the top 5. Nishikori, Ferrer, they still remain in contention. Tsonga reaching the final, suddenly from 14th he's jumped to 10th.
Yeah.
So there's
What
maybe
about Wawrinka?
Wawrinka's qualified too. Wawrinka, that's the 6th. So I always love the season ending because it's a completely different format where they play in round robins and it's a top 8
Correct.
playing.
I mean, you can't
Yeah.
think of a better
Yeah,
display of
it's,
quality tennis.
So
This is the best.
Yeah, every match is competitive.
Every match is competitive.
And that's what they're all racing towards. So that's what we'll also keep a track of. So did you catch some football, Ayaz? Then Chelsea's finally registered.
Yes.
Good way.
Yes. Yes.
This was the first week where all the big teams won. I think it was finally like a stable week of football that we had. City, Sterling had a hat trick, 5-1, clear leaders at the top. Arsenal United both posted similar scorelines, 3-0, 3-0. What was surprising, but like what everybody was watching out for was a Liverpool match under Jurgen Klopp, his first match. Klopp. I literally thought that they were dedicating more space to Klopp's antics on the sidelines. He is a very animated coach, and he yelled and shouts and does all kinds of theatrics.
Yeah.
And that's great for the Premier League, but they only managed a point.
So where are we headed now? I mean, how does it look like?
So City on the top,
City on the top, yes.
and Arsenal and United on joint points, 2nd and 3rd.
Yes.
And West Ham, they've secured that 4th position. They're still not losing. They continue to win, which is great for them.
So that's a big jump from last year.
Yeah, from last year.
West Ham is the
So and Liverpool now with Klopp, suddenly everybody's expecting them to turn this season
Thing
around and
yeah.
be competing. But I think it's good to give him time. He has a good team. They have a relatively good set of players. But I think Klopp needs to be given time, which somehow our media doesn't do anymore. At least not in the UK. They will hang him if he cannot get the points. But they got a clean sheet, which they haven't managed for a while. So that's something good for them.
Chalo.
Yeah. But big week coming up. There's Champions League midweek and some big matches. Arsenal playing Bayern. And that's always a scary fixture for them.
Yeah.
And then the next weekend we have the Manchester Derby.
Wow, that will be something.
Yeah,
yes.
United facing our City. So lots of good stuff coming up. Yeah.
No, I think this is an action-packed week.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
Loads and loads of stuff happening. Yeah.
Obviously, we have to watch out for cricket.
We have to.
Yes, and let's hope Dhoni gets the win again and makes it 2-2 That's what we're hoping for.
If we don't win the one day, I fear we might have a tough time in the Test series.
Okay, that's quite an ominous prediction to make. So that's all we have for today. See you next week on the Sportscast. Thank you.